a warm welcome to you all for the expert session on product thinking, the secret to building iconic solution. This is an extremely relevant and timely discussion as the session introduces crucial policies and strategies that will shape our career and research for the holistic development of students. Product thinking is the key to creating solutions that truly resonate with users by focusing on their needs and experiences. It shifts the mindset from just building features to solving real problems effectively. Mastering this approach going to help the not only the craft but iconic product that stand the test of time. But before we delve into the lecture, I would like to introduce our esteemed speaker of today's session, Ankit Agrawal and Rucha Kapre. Ankit sir is an agile evangelist passionate about enabling people and business to adopt agility. He is an agile transformation coach at HSBC Software Development India, accelerating the agile transformation for a large scale portfolio at the bank. Ankit has been a speaker and reviewer at some of the globally renowned industry agile conferences and leads the Pune Business Agility Meetup chapter. Ankit takes active interest in coaching and mentoring people. He has been the LinkedIn community top voice for agile leadership, executive coaching, emotional intelligence, mentoring coaching. He is an excellent nerd, a big time Marvel movie fan, and always available to catch up over a cup of tea or coffee. Now it's time to Rucha. Rucha Kapre ma'am has around 15 years of experience in software and product development. Rucha is leader in business analysis and agile methodology at Springer Nature, where she heads the external DEI data team. Her mission is to foster a culture of diversity, equity, and inclusion across the organization and the industry to leverage data to drive diversity, equity, inclusion initiatives and outcomes. She has been a LinkedIn community top voice for fostering inclusivity and facilitation. Having shared insights at various conferences, her speaking engagements cover various topics including agile product journey, business analysis, agile methodology, diversity, equity, inclusion, and allyship in Agile and research diversity. Rucha is also a travel enthusiast and loves to travel at different places. Now we are looking forward to gaining insight from their extensive expertise and experiences. So before handing over the session to our guest, I encourage all the students for their active participation. And if you have any query and doubt, we will take your question at the end of the session. Now, I request Ankit sir and Rucha ma'am to commence the session.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Neha. Thank you for the wonderful introduction. Hello, everyone. Welcome. I would like to quickly introduce myself. I think ma'am has given a really nice introduction, so I'll keep it short. I'm Rucha Kapre, and professionally, let me talk about what I do. I head a data team at Springer Nature, which is the world's second biggest publishing house. It's a place which publishes research. It's also a brand which owns Macmillan. I am a product strategist. More about that during the session. I am into data and agile. We can talk about it some other time, but I also love to do such assignments. Speaking assignments, I'm a keynote speaker. I love to mentor and coach people. I also relate to a few social causes. Personally, I'm born and brought up in Pune. I love to travel and I love to read whenever there's an opportunity. That's pretty much about me. I would love to interact. We will leave our contact details in the end of the session. But with that, Ankit, over to you.
Thank you, Rucha, for taking us through that quiz and setting the context of what the product is. Again, thank you, Neha ma'am, for the beautiful introduction. That's all the work, boring stuff. So very quickly, yes, I am an agile transformation coach. I work with huge teams in the HSBC software development technology company India. I also speak at conferences. I review conference submissions for a lot of globally renowned conferences. Um, I re- I am one of the leads for one of Business Agility Meetup chapters. I have been LinkedIn top voice for quite a few skills. But outside work, I am an IoT hobbyist. I like to make things, the things that you see on the screen, a Wally replica, a smartwatch replica, all-terrain robot is something me. I am absolutely in love with tea and coffee and meeting people over tea and coffee. That's why you see I am carrying my cup with me right now. I am an Excel nerd. I like to play or used to play a lot with Excel, and I am a big time Marvel movies fan. Any Marvel movies fan? Thumbs up, please. Yeah. So that's the only rule that I have. No matter if it's a production issue, no matter if it's the biggest client meeting, if there is a Marvel movie, Friday, first day, first show is where I will be. And I really follow that rule. Apart from that, I also consume social media a lot. I used to create memes. I don't do that now, but I do consume memes a lot. So I can literally, thanks to Shari, yes, Avengers Assemble. So I can literally converse with people in the language of memes. And I know a lot of you would be able to do that as well. So happy to connect with you. Like Rucha said, we'll leave our contact details. But let's let's answer one question, right? Um, it's a beautiful Saturday morning. You have things to do, we have things to do, or at least I can like laze on my couch and watch TV. But we are all here. Why are we here? Why do we want to talk about products? Why do we want to tell you about products, or why do you have to learn about products? So product thinking or product management is one of the hottest skills in the industry right now. And if you can see on the screen, there is a survey by Appraised which will give you salary insights. So product management skill has like great salaries. There is a job requirement. There is a demand in the industry, and the salaries range from as low as 6-7 lakhs to if you are a chief product officer or something like that, or if you are like a product person in a startup, your salaries can also go up to crores, 1 crore or more in terms of ESOPs value and everything. There's an article published in Economic Times in August 2024, which is Economic Times Career, which says machine learning, product management, and cybersecurity are the most needed jobs, which was backed by Foundit. And why this role is important is because, again, if you look at the screen, you are right in the middle of everything. You're like a GPS to what the company is doing. You are there with technology, you're there with business, you're there with user experience. You are in the middle of everything. But let's say you're not decided to do a job. Maybe you have different aspirations and you want to be a startup of your own, or you want to do a business of your own, right? I am hoping a lot of us do watch Shark Tank on a regular basis, or at least have watched it once. And I think the amount of investment they've done only in season 4 has reached 90 crores or so. So think about all the 4 seasons, and this is only India. Think about the investments that Shark Tank US, Australia has been doing for 14 years now. If you see the second image, that's a curve of government recognized startups in India from 2016 to 24, and it's a 45-degree curve, and this is only the recognized startups. There are many more which are still in pilot phase, which are still yet to register or things like that. So look at the curve. In 2016, it was 471. In 2024, it's 1,27,000. And last but not the least, by 2025, India expects to have 200 or approximately 200 unicorns. Unicorns are companies which are valued over $1 billion, 1 billion US dollars. So think about the scope that there is there in the market, and whether you are looking for a job or whether you're looking for a business, there's always a product, there's always a product journey, and there is a product management needed. And that is the reason we are talking to you about products on a Saturday morning.
Okay, so I think by now we have established, right, what products are and why we even talking about them. But how does the journey to a product start? When I was in college, and that I feel ancient already, I think as a group, whatever conversations we had over a cup of chai in the cafeteria, we had a lot of ideas. And now when we look back, it's like, oh, we had that idea, somebody has already productionized it, or it is live, and then they're earning such a lot of money. And then we just fret over it, right? Like, hey, we could have been that person. But essentially, I'm pretty sure with the culture and the Shark Tank culture that we have right now, it's a lot more prevalent than 15 years ago. And that says like every product basically starts with an idea. And I have a small story, and I'm pretty sure every founder has a story. So the story of Red Bus, I guess, or it's some like bus aggregator site, started around when the founder, who was not a founder then, was planning to go to Diwali to his hometown. And the bus market, the local bus, the private bus market, not the government run ones, was very unorganized. And if the fare is like 1,000 regularly, it shot up to like 4,000 or 5,000. And there were like black marketing of tickets because it was festival time. So he thought over it that it is a very, very unorganized market. Why don't I test and see if there's a need to organize it? So he just put up a plain paper saying that I can help, a plain one pager website saying that we will help you book tickets online. And imagine this is a time. Probably it's very hard for you to imagine that it was not online, internet was not as prevalent as it is today. But yeah, those used to be the times. I remember we used to like visit our computer labs where access for internet was like very, very limited. It was a very, very valued resource. So those were the times basically. And then he thought, why not put up like a single page and look for the demand of it? How many people are interested? And a lot of people clicked on it, which made him think that, hey, there's really a demand. And then he created something really very basic. Like he aggregated or he collated all the private bus players in a particular area. And then that's what he listed to begin with. And eventually it grew to be like one of the biggest platforms in India where the bus market was organized. So basically, every product starts with an idea. The key is how do you explain it to others, right? Like I had a lot of ideas, my friends had a lot of ideas, but I don't think I knew a mechanism of explaining it to others, but also a mechanism of testing it or validating it, whether the idea will really work or not. Because we do have a lot of ideas, and not all ideas are worth it. Not all ideas might be solving something, but how do you validate that? And to validate it, there's a magic wand. I know that there's not a lot of magic around, but I literally call the elevator pitch as a magic wand, and I'll tell you why. Because if we move on to the next slide, it's literally something which helps you consolidate or which helps you summarize what your product is in like 4 to 5 sentences. It's 4 to 5 sentences, but it really makes you think very, very hard. And why, come to it shortly. But does anyone know what a pitch is and what an elevator pitch even means? Like a quick show of thumbs if you know what a pitch or an elevator pitch is. Okay, I'm going to take the silence as a no. This is great. So this is going to be fun explaining. So look at the scenario on the left. Okay, this person on the left in the image. So imagine you have a very nice product idea, or you are a business owner of something, and by chance luck has struck and you meet a investor in the lift, and you have started with them. You're the only two people in the lift, and the person wants to get down on the 10th floor, and this is your chance to be with them, and it's going to take around 1 minute to reach from floor 1 to floor 10. Can you summarize what a product is, who the customers are, how are you solving the problem for them, and how is it going to earn money to this person in a single minute? That's nothing but a pitch. And because you are doing it in a very, very short time, it's called as an elevator pitch. So if you see the arrows in the first picture, the lift is going up, and by the time it reaches the top floor, and now you see the sign, the arrow is coming down, a deal has been struck already. So you see the dollar symbol there. So an elevator pitch is nothing but a very, very short, compelling description of your idea in under 60 seconds. Why is it important? Because it captures attention. It's like a story. It's like a very, very effective story. So if you have seen Shark Tank India, essentially, whenever a founder comes in and talks about their product first, even before the Q&A starts, is nothing but an elevator pitch. So it captures attention. It explains why the product matters. It explains how is it useful, not just for the customers, but for the investors as well. Because from a Shark Tank perspective, it is you talk about how is it going to be useful for the customers and eventually make money for the investors. But also, you're not going to build the product by yourself. You are always going to have a team. So you also need to explain it to your teams what your vision is. And that's where an elevator pitch helps. So that's enough of theory. As I said, every pitch in Shark Tank is an elevator pitch. These are the components. What an elevator pitch forces you to think is one, who the customers are. Because as we looked at the characteristics before, a product cannot exist without its customers. Then, even if there are customers, you need to be solving a problem for them. There has to be some opportunity. You just don't build a product for the heck of it. It needs to solve some problem or a pain point. And of course, your solution is the product. The solution that you're offering to the problem is the product. And there needs to be some key differentiator, some USP, some unique point in your product which differentiates you from a competitor. Else, your product is going to end up like any other product in the market. And on the right, you see like there's a template. You don't even have to think much. You just take this template and you fill it. It takes some time for you to think and write, but it's literally like fill in the blanks. And the moment you just follow the whole process, it forces you to think about certain things and your elevator pitch is ready. I have backed it with an example. So the example is of an app that I use very, very often. It's Uber. Again, this is not an elevator pitch from Uber. This is something that I have built based on my need or my pain point or the solution that I need. And that is for working professionals in urban cities. That is the user group who have a commuting need. So that's a problem that I want to solve. Who have a commuting need or want to go to office. Uber is a cab service, right? It's a cab service that allows customers to book on demand. So earlier, if I used to take an auto, I have to wait for an auto or I have to go to an auto stand. I don't think Pune had like a taxi culture like Mumbai. And like calling taxis were also not available. So this is something on demand. I can book it like quite immediately. And I also remember the days when Uber launched, I could book it through an SMS service. Probably an app didn't exist back then. And unlike local taxi, so sometimes if I'm traveling in the night, unlike local taxi, what I have is I have a GPS. So I can track what way we are taking, or I can also share my tracking information with my family members. It is safe and it has online payment options for me, which solves like most of the problems that I have. So this is an elevator pitch for Uber. Have you started getting a hang of things, what a product is and what an elevator pitch is, and the 5 components that we spoke about? A quick show of thumbs. Yeah. A homework for all of you is, if you are working on any idea or next time in the cafeteria, if you come across a discussion where you're talking about a product, just pull up a notepad and a pencil and go through this and validate your idea then and there. Okay.
And remember the importance of being able to explain your business or your idea or your product. It's also because it tells the other person the clarity, or it gives them, you don't have, we are living in the world of reels and shorts where the attention span has come to 60 seconds. Interestingly, Mr. Kunal Shah, from the founder of Cred, he invests or he approves investments on SMS. People send pitches to him on SMSs. Not that I have his phone number, but do remember the importance of explaining, being able to explain things. So then we're talking about products. What is the common thing between all these people here? Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Brian Chesky, Mark Zuckerberg, Reed Hastings. I don't know. I don't think they need introduction, but any quick answers of what is common between all these people? If you want to put it in the chat very quickly. What is one common thing between all of them?
No wrong answers. Any guesses are fine.
Unique ideas, utility to the market, innovative, right? Friends, innovation, futuristic ideas. Yes, they are known for their ideas. They have known for being billionaires, being businesses, being founders, being visionary. But if you try to put all of this together, all these people are the people who are known for their passion about products and customers and the way they executed their product. So the product thinking that they had or their management of product made them, yes, Rakesh, unbeatable, made them where they are. Do we really think no one else tried doing an Amazon or no one else tried doing a social network? I don't know if you all know there was something called as Orkut before Facebook came in, but after Facebook came in, Orkut was nowhere to be seen. So the way these people thought about their products and their customers, which is essentially product management, is everything that they are known for. That's how they build a business. That's how they build a vision. So then what is product thinking, right? Product thinking is a problem solving method that focuses on creating values for your users, or that focuses on creating valuable products for your customer. It's a holistic approach how users, technology, and business goals can interact with each other, right? Product thinking can be, and it has many things with it. So it has to have user focus, it has to have design thinking, it has to have product management, innovation, and a lot more things. But all put together, it's a way to solve problems for your customers. It's an approach to make business goals work by solving problems for your customers. So what could be product thinking, right? Product thinking is about maximizing value. And very quickly, what value means. Value is something what your customers get out of your product. It's not the utility. It's not what they pay for the product. It's what they experience out of your product. So for example, Uber, the value is not being, it's not just reaching one place to another. You could do that by a auto, you could do that by a public bus. The convenience that you get, the safety that you get, that's the value of Uber. So even if you look at this image, right, and we have all seen this with celebrities drinking different water, the value is the health, the maybe even status quo, what they get out of it. But value is what your customers experience. It's not what they, it's something that they would like to pay for. It's not how much you charge for your product. So value is something, so like Rucha said, there's always a product, and just like product, there's always a value associated with it. Uh, Driving this value to the customers, and that's something that we saw for all the founders that we'd listed, is product thinking. The other thing about product thinking is ensuring your product is always viable, it's always feasible, it always makes sense to the market you are in, right? If I launch a floppy drive today, it's not a viable product. We've moved ages out of it. So knowing that you're solving the right problem, knowing that your market segment exists, knowing that people are ready to pay for it, knowing that it aligns with your business goals, and also knowing that it is possible to do all of this and keeping it relevant is product thinking. So interestingly, if you know Dropbox a service, the way the founder thought if Dropbox is viable or not, they put a video of demonstration of Dropbox on YouTube, and overnight the person got some lakhs of views and likes on it, which was their way of understanding if their product is viable or not. And of course, that's like 10-15 years ago. Now you'll have to come up with different ways to ensure. But it's not only before launching the product, it also is when you are have launched the product. You need to constantly ensure that your product is viable. Then you have to ensure that the product is it meets your business goals, it meets the customer's needs, it meets the technology feasibility, right? So you have to be constantly balancing between technology, business, and customers. And I will give you a very good example. We've all used YouTube. So when we did not have 4G and 5G, the internet was slow, and that was a frustration for a lot of people. So what YouTube did is, and I don't know if you've ever got to try it, but on their buffering icon, YouTube made a snake game out of it. So while you're waiting for the video to load or buffer, you could play the snake game so that you're not bored, you're not frustrated. And why is that important? Because YouTube wants their customers to be engaged, but then they also want their business to sustain. So the another feature that they have launched some time ago is autoplay. So if you play a video, you probably leave the platform, go around, do something else. YouTube will now autoplay a video for you immediately after a video because it is a video streaming service. Even if you don't do it yourself, it will bring up something based on your watch history, but it will do it. So they are balancing the customer's interest. They're balancing the business interest. And that's a very key thing to think about throughout your product lifecycle. And this is what a product lifecycle looks like. You have to ideate, design, you have to come up with that idea which solves problem. Then as a person who is doing the product thinking, or the person who's doing the product management, has to think about developing the product. How are you going to develop it? How are you going to launch it? What is your test criteria? What is your minimal viable product? What is your go-to market strategy? Everything has to be there. How are you going to mature the product? How are you going to add more stories to it? How are you going to add more features that your customers keep using it? And also very important, at some point in your product life cycle, you may have to take a product sunset or product decline call, which means if at any point in time you feel your product is not relevant, you need to bring it out the market. And that's again a very important quality. It's not only about launching great products, it's also to ensure that they are constantly meeting needs, or maybe they are not needed anymore. Examples could be, we see a lot of cars getting discontinued, we see a lot of mobile phones getting discontinued because if there are new processors launched, customers are not going to pay more for it. You need to upgrade your processors and discontinue the ones which were with lower processors. So you will need to align your you will need to align with the customer demands and take a call if you need to decline it. I think someone's going off mute. If the admin can mute everyone, please. Right? So everything that we spoke of in the last 5 minutes is what product thinking is about. Finding that differentiator, finding that problem to solve, ensuring everything is balanced together. Let's see who does all of this.
Yep. So even before we look at who does all of that, we've so far looked at what a product is, and we've looked at the value it brings, the people who it caters to, and we've also looked at the product life cycle. But you need to manage these steps in the life cycle, right? And that is nothing but product management. So from inception, or from the time an idea is born to the time it hits the market, to the time you want to take feedback from it, to the time you want to sunset it, everything needs to be managed. And that is nothing but product management, quite literally. So product management is the process of strategizing, then developing, then launching, and then improving a product to meet the customer needs and business goals, and everything even after that. Here are a few examples of product management in action. So if you look at Uber, is deciding new feature like Uber Pool or price search. So when Uber was launched, it didn't have these features. I think it has also discontinued at least the pool one. I'm not 100% sure, but these were not launched on day one. So this is an example of you always have to keep on innovating, you always have to keep on trying new things. Similarly, Amazon, it's a balance between the customer experience with pricing and logistics. So you will see like different pricing strategies based on festivals or based on your cart value and how logistics is managed. Also, if you take an example of Netflix, is it is using user data to personalize recommendations and create content. So one of the problems Netflix faced initially was people were not able to find like relevant content, and then they used to switch it off. And now I think almost all of us, or at least I am guilty of it, like it keeps on recommending me one thing after the other, and everything I like, mostly based on the huge past history it has, and it's just like so difficult to switch off from it. So it has definitely solved its customer problem, and it has also increased its revenue many folds because of solving this very simple problem. So this is product management in action. I've not added a lot of theory here. This is like a basic 101 just to give you an idea. But when you're managing these products, you also now need people in the life cycle. So if we move on to who these people are, and as Ankit pointed out rightly, it is like the most booming, or it's like a hot skill, if I may call it, in the market right now, along with like AI, machine learning. Product and product skills will like never die, because we discussed everything around us is a product. It could be a software product, a physical product, a service, or an experience. And there are multiple roles in it. I've just picked a few, but this is just to give you a glimpse of what kind of roles you could apply to eventually, or what kind of roles you could play or even employ in your own startups, I hope someday. So everyone knows who a CEO is, a chief executive officer. A quick show of thumbs. Perfect. So similarly, there is also a chief product officer, and they're also a C-suite person. So there's a chief operating officer, a chief finance officer, and this role of chief product officer is coming up a lot in a lot of not just startups, but even in big companies. So this is like the top role for any product. Let's take an example of Amazon or Uber. But at the same time, there are roles which are like starting roles as well. So there could be like a product manager. Again, there are different levels. There's a product director, there's a product vice president, a senior product manager, a lead, and whatnot. But essentially, there's always a product manager, someone who manages the product, who strategizes about them. Then there's a product owner, who is essentially the person who is going to help with executing or implementing the product. So owner is more like inward facing, manager is more like outward facing. It could also be similar people doing it. So here I'm just talking about the roles, and we will also talk about the skills. And then the most important bit is a designer. This could be a user experience designer, or this could be a product designer. Uh, these are like huge areas, very interesting areas, not only needed in the software industry, but needed in every fold of life. So these designers create experiences for you. What's the fun in using a product for which you have to sit and read a user guide for hours, right? It doesn't make any sense. Like imagine you buy a new mobile phone and you have to now read the entire manual. I think gone are the days, right? Even if it's like a new phone, even if you're switching from like Android to Apple or vice versa, you just need like a few hours to figure it out. You don't have to go through a lot of like user manual. And that is the power of a good user experience, or that's the power of good product design. So these are a few high level roles you could be looking at eventually when you pass out or when you're building something of your own. My question to you now is, recently, what product change, and it could be an app update or a new feature or a pricing shift, have you noticed in any of the products? Any quick suggestions? Key in your answers in the chat window. Okay, paying via WhatsApp. Perfect. WhatsApp Pay. Okay, what else?
Someone said Uber prices. Yes, we spoke about it. I think dynamic prices,
Yeah.
chat themes, Google Pay, application of AI,
LinkedIn Shorts, yeah, that's a good one.
threads on Instagram. Yes. So now are you going to
Okay.
give them another homework, Rucha?
Let's see. Let's see. So, how do you think these product managers decide on changing these features or upgrading existing features or launching something new? Is it like they sleeping one fine day, they get a dream, they get up and they implement it? I'm pretty sure that's not the case. So, the way these people think is quite unique. So, let's see what makes them unique and what are the skills these people have. So, Ankit, if we move on to the next slide. So essentially, these are the skills a product person usually has. These are some product management skills. Let the answers keep coming. Thank you again for answering these. I think these are like quite interesting. But the first one is product sense and user centric thinking. So, what makes a product manager a unique person or the best fit for a product is their sense of understanding the product is quite great. Their sense of understanding the customers, their sense of understanding the customer pain points and then needs is quite unique. An example I can think of is Steve Jobs here. So Steve Jobs did an exceptional job and he had a very, very good product sense. He made products which are seamless in designs, which are very, very intuitive, which are very, very usable. And the designs were very easy, the designs were very easy to use. And he had a very, very strong hold on user centricity, what the user needs, or customer centricity, as we call it. Product sense, and in product sense, whatever Ankit and I have been talking about right from the beginning, everything is covered. It's like who the customers are, what their pain points are, how are you going to solve them, what value are you going to create for them. And then user centricity is across making things very easy and friendly and usable for them. Then the second skill they usually should have is data driven decision making. So I'm not sure if you've ever noticed for the same application, sometimes you might see a different feature and that feature is either revoked after a few days or you see it launched in a big way with additional things added later. And the reason that is done is it's a concept called as A/B testing. I'll give you a quick glimpse of what it means. For example, if I want to launch a new feature, I will not do a big bang launch of it. I want to first test out whether it works or not. So you will see the feature is launched only to a few group of people, say 100 of people. And the remaining 100 people, say there are only 200 users on an app, then the remaining 100 are not given that feature. And then the user behavior is tested, like how do the group look at the feature that is being rolled out to them and versus how are the other people performing. And based on the responses, then you see whether the A flow path works or the B path works better. And then it is rolled out or not rolled out. Similarly, when I am using Amazon and when I travel to the UK, I notice a lot of new features. When I come back, they're not there. And then I see they're launched in India a few months later, or vice versa. Where I'm here in India, it's not available in the UK. And when I go to the UK after a few months, it's launched there globally or at least in the country. That's nothing but collecting data to understand and making decisions based on data, but not on intuition. And Netflix does that a lot. As I mentioned, Netflix relies heavily on analytics to personalize recommendations for you. And that is nothing but data driven decision making. And the third is problem solving and strategic thinking. So, problem solving is nothing but very, very straightforward. It's not just needed for product. I think it's a basic life skill all of us need. And it's basically taking an idea which is not very formulated, which is like a blob, to finalizing it, making it, taking it from ambiguity to unambiguity, something which is very rough to something which is very clear, And how do you do that? It's essentially by iterating, right? Like making small improvements, testing it, taking feedback. And the most important thing is, even if you fail, you bounce back. So being resilient, that's the skill that a product person needs. And strategic thinking, of course, strategic thinking is things like, how do you place the product? Which customer segment do you target? Because sometimes it could be a possibility that there's a huge customer segment for you, but you want to target something to begin with. How do you price your products? Do you want to give it for free and then put up ads on your application, or do you want to give subscriptions and make it paid, or do you want to use like a hybrid approach? And one example I can think of is Spotify, right? Spotify is really very good at creating these plans for people. And I hear there are a lot of student plans as well, which is like a unique thing that they launched recently, because we know people going to college, and I used to do the same. We listen to a lot of music, and hence there are like cheaper plans available for students. Similarly, I went to purchase a tab for my father the other day, and what the shopkeeper told me is Samsung is giving additional discounts for students. So if a student comes with a student ID card, they will get an additional 1000 or whatever discount. So these are all strategies, and how do you play with those? Because a tab, unlike when we were studying, is a very, very useful thing right now for a lot of people, especially for projects and stuff. So these are the things that we need to think of. Then the second last thing is leadership and vision. Of course, leadership is not a title. It is your approach towards things. Sometimes you might not even have a title, and yet you need to influence people. And that influencing needs to happen through your vision. How you inspire them needs to be authentic. Your vision needs to be bold, but at the same time, it needs to be practical as well. So basically, it needs to be very, very big enough that you are looking at the big picture, but at the same time, you're staying grounded and you're building up every step to reach that vision. So your one eye definitely needs to be on the North Star. You're thinking big, you are looking at bigger impacts, but at the same time, on ground, you're making smaller steps to go ahead. So that's nothing but leadership and vision. And last but not the least is storytelling and communication. Now imagine you have a very, very good idea, but you are not able to communicate it. What's the point of it, right? Like if you're not able to communicate it to get investment, if you're not going able to communicate it to your customers to get the customers, but these are still secondary. Imagine you're not even able to communicate it to the team who's going to build it. You're not a one person army. You're not being able to eventually do everything by yourself. Like in the starting, maybe that's possible, but eventually that is not going to work. And hence, being able to communicate, being able to tell like stories is something which is very, very unique. And when you observe Shark Tank India or any other Shark Tank episodes, the common thing the sharks ask is like, what is your story? Right? And that's one thing which is very, very common. It also has to be emotional. We spoke about data, but it needs to have some link that, X happened with me, and then Y is the solution I thought of, or I saw this problem was happening, and which is why I came up with this idea. So having those skills is very, very important. So again, these are the skills you need to have. Again, not just for product, in general as well. These are super useful skills, but for product management, 100% needed. With that, if we move on, I'm just concluding my bit with what product thinking means. And it's a very, very short summary. The value is in not what you're building. Okay, you might spend crores of rupees, use the most sophisticated supercomputers to build something. And an example Ankit and I were discussing of is if you use the most super technology to build a pencil, but it's still a pencil, right? It's going to help you write, which a Nataraj pencil might also help you write. The experience might be different, but the value is not how much you're spending in making something. The value is in what gets used, not in what gets built. That is how you measure value. And the biggest opportunity, it's not a threat, the biggest opportunity are your unhappy customers, because they're your greatest source of learning. They will give you a lot of feedback. And here I would like to quote an example of Airbnb. So when Airbnb had launched, they noticed that some of the properties who don't have like very, very great reviews, also don't have great pictures, and they're not being like property pictures, the ones that you see when you're trying to book a property. They were not that great. So instead of looking at why the numbers are going down or why the product is not flying, they did not build a new feature. They went and spoke with their customers and they realized that the pictures were not that great. So they offered a service to the people who are putting up their houses on Airbnb to get professional pictures clicked. They put those up, and that changed a lot of things for them. So product thinking also is, you don't always have to have a solution where you have to build something. You don't always have to build a software. You don't always have to build a piece to solve a problem. It is just the approach in which you think about things. So that's product thinking for me, but I'm pretty sure Ankit, you might also have a few examples if you want to share.
Yep, we will probably do a few more examples, but like we've got 70 people on the call, and now that all of you have at least got an introduction to what product thinking is, and some of you were already giving great inputs, that tells me that you are already a step ahead, you know what product thinking is. So let us ask you this: if you were to create a product which will change the century, what would it be? And how are you going to build the next unicorn out of it? And to do that, we will simply ask you to use your Slido again. The code is different this time, so go to slido.com and put in this pin, or you can scan the QR code as well. Okay, now let's see if you can join in and tell us what products are you going to build. Let's make it quick.
So the question is, if you had an opportunity to create a groundbreaking product that could shape the next 100 years, what would it be? And that is the Slido code. So you don't
Yeah,
have to enter your names in here. You have to enter the product idea if you have any. Something that will change the future, the next 100 years. What would it be?
okay, AI agent. What else? Time machine for Rucha. Placement pack. Why I was hoping someone mentions this. Why would I share my idea here? So the idea is, knowing the idea or knowing the solution is not the game. The thing is, with with all the techniques that you have for the idea and how you execute is the real game changer. A lot of us would
And
think
there's,
about AI.
yeah, and there's some really good ones like plastic alternatives, biosynthetic, something related to mental. I like the
Education,
placement pack.
yeah, surgical cotton slack with different drugs, healthcare, learning, grooming product. So I think we're running, or kachra cleaning, yes, very important, relates to health, hygiene, everything. I think we're running over time, so I'll quickly move to the next part, which is nothing but just a takeaway of, and please keep sharing the answers there. We will share a screenshot with you later, or we will send it to Dr. Vishwajit and he will share it with you. So this is what we've been speaking about in the last 1 hour, product thinking, right? And this is what we want you to remember when you think of product thinking or product management. Everything around us that we consume is a product, and everything that is a product has a value to it. Good products or great products are the one that solve real problems. An elevator pitch is a great way and is a core of how you would want to share your product idea, because it gives absolute clarity of what is that you're trying to do in less than 60 seconds. There could be more ways of doing it, but the idea is to have that clarity and being able to call it out in such a small span of time or in the easiest way possible. Product management is about balancing customers, business, and technology together. And technology doesn't always mean that it has to be something digital. If it's an automobile product, it could be something in that area. If it's manufacturing, it could be something in that area. But it has to be a balance of all these. Otherwise, if any of these loses, you will probably not make good business, good not-for-profit business out of it, whatever your goal is, but it has to be a balance. Most important thing for all of you, and I think Rucha already gave you that homework earlier, start thinking like a product manager today. Analyze the products with the lens that we tried to share with you. Use the tips that we tried to give you so far and see if it makes sense to you. What me and Rucha have done is you can take a screenshot of it or we will send it later. But we have a video series, a 7-part video series where we talk about right from the inception or the ideation of a product to how you can convert it into a project plan. So something like if you have an idea, how would you want to go about it? And then at the end, you will also have a mechanism to create a project plan. So you can set up a team and start executing it the day after. So feel free to look at the videos that we have for you. We also do a product journey workshop, me and Rucha, which is more like a half day or a full day workshop. We like to do it in person with people, um, around us with a room full of wallpaper, stickies, chart papers, pens, markers, different colors. But then we try to get project plans out of it. And then this is us. Thank you for your time. We've got mine and Rucha's LinkedIn here. Before this, I will quickly want to check with all of you. If you, I'm going to stop this poll and go to next slide. On the same Slido, if you would want to tell us how did you like the session? Sorry, it's the same Slido. So if there are any questions, I know we are over time, we can take one or two. You can put it on the chat. Meanwhile, we see the feedback. Any questions so far? Thank you, Shreyasi. You found it meaningful. We're glad.
So there's one, I think it's a comment. Are you familiar with this term product thinking? That's more uh, a part of the Q&A, but I think we answered that, Dr. Vishwajit, right?
Yeah. Um, so I think we will. I see numbers dropping. I will leave it at this slide. I will leave the Slido open. We will share what every one of you thought with you later. You can also reach out to, maybe we'll leave that question with you, Dr. Vishwajit, if people would like to attend the workshop. We have a 1-day workshop. I'm not going to open that poll now. But yeah, if there are any questions, you can reach out to us in LinkedIn. Me and Rucha like to talk to people. We are also happy to mentor you with anything you need, or if there is anything we can support you with, feel free to reach out to us on LinkedIn. And then think about if this presentation was a product, if the session we did, was that a product or not.
By the way,
So
we have an elevator pitch for this workshop as well, the one that we gave you. So it is a product.
someone's asking for Aman, if you scan this QR codes, you will reach to our LinkedIn. I will try to put it on the chat by the time we wrap it up, the links also. But yeah, so back to you, Dr. Vishwajit. I don't know if we have any questions. If there are, we are happy to stay and answer.
Okay, now it's time to vote of thanks. I, Dr. Neha Gupta, on behalf of Bharati Vidyapeeth and the Center for Distance and Online Education, would like to extend our sincere gratitude and heartfelt thanks to our esteemed guests, Mr. Ankit Agrawal and Ms. Rucha Kapare, for their engaging and insightful session. Your deep analysis and thought provoking perspective was truly enriching our students. So, your presentation on product thinking was not only informative but also incredibly engaging. We deeply appreciate the time and effort you have invested in this session. We look forward to having the opportunity to welcome you again in the future. A special thanks to our students who participation in today's session, whether through asking questions, sharing their views, or simply being attentive listener. Your active engagement and participation made this session truly enriching. Thank you for your engagement and enthusiasm and commitment to learning. Let's continue to explore and apply these insights as we progress in our academic journey. Thank you, Anisa. Thank you, Rucha ma'am.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us here. Have a wonderful rest of the day.